If you've seen our condo tour, then you already know the big number. We pay $2,400 a month on our condo. And that sounds like a serious investment, right?
But I'm going to tell you the real honest truth that no one talks about. The rent is a breeze compared to what it costs to walk into the door.
Before we got the keys, before we bought a single piece of furniture, we had to come up with a chunk of cash totaling 1.1 million pesos. That's about $19,000 for us to even get the keys.
If you're thinking about moving here, watch this, because we're going to break down all the initial costs and fees just to walk in the door.
And also the negotiation tip that helped us save money. So let's go. So first, let's talk about the standard practice here in BGC.
Well, standard.
So you'll need to budget for what's known as the forex rule,
which is 2 months of security deposit and then 2 months of advance rent, typically. However, those are negotiable. Just like in the US, you need usually a security deposit, first month's rent, like a pet fee, application, a key deposit. So it's very similar in the US as far as the dollar amount required.
So a lot of the listings here in Philippines, the main listing platform that they typically use is Facebook.
There's no MLS here in the Philippines. Literally everything is on Facebook, even negotiations on Facebook, where they would put, you'll see the listing, you'll see pictures, you'll see the requirements, and it'll say 2+2. But some listings you'll see 2 plus 6 months. What you never see in the US is, unlike you see here, is some of the condos we saw requires 12 months worth of payments, meaning you can't just make a month-to-month payments, literally the entire 12 months. And us being a property manager in the US, that was never required whatsoever. But here it's kind of common.
So typically you're going to pay at least 4 months worth of rent
upfront.
But yes, you'll commonly see 2+2, or sometimes we've seen 1+1. Not so much here in BGC though.
Here, they don't even ask a cleaning fee. They may ask a pet deposit. There's no application process. Also too, our lease standard in Nevada is, I think, 13 pages, plus our company has like a 21-page addendum on top of that. Here, our lease was like 6 pages.
I think it was 6 pages. There's no additional fees. You have your 2+2, so your forex, the rent, right? So already that's a huge chunk of money going into it. Now let's talk about our experience here. We thought that the rental market here is flexible because the condos tend to sit for quite a while.
What we read coming in here was there's a lot of available condos.
We quickly realized that while there is room for negotiation, there's also a select few condos that if it's a good deal, there's just no room for negotiation.
Or if it's like really nice, super upgraded. So in this, I mean, just like any real estate here or in the US, if it's a nice place located in a nice area, it's gonna get swooped up pretty quick.
We found this one. This one is a 3-bedroom unit. It was listed for 160,000 pesos.
Brand new.
It's 2 months security deposit, 2 months advance. It was obviously well above our price point, so we decided to try to negotiate for a lower rent.
Actually, what's funny, what she didn't mention this, is we actually made an offer on an identical unit.
Oh yes.
On a different floor.
Yes.
Well, that guy wasn't budging whatsoever. He had no flexibility, none. And so we ended up talking to our agent, like, hey, is there any other units in this building? And we're literally just a few floors up with an identical unit. And we were able to negotiate down to 140 compared to the 160 price point.
140, and this is how we did it. So the first part of it was the parking. Rentals here include 1 parking for each condo, right? And because we don't have a car and we don't plan on owning a car, we were told by our real estate agent that typically a parking slot would be around 5,000 to 6,000. So if you don't need it, you can negotiate for the reduction for that amount. We ended up asking for that, and the landlord approved it.
One of the perks to obviously getting an offer accepted is making it landlord friendly. So what we did was we offered 6 months in advance instead of the 2 months in advance. and the landlord and his representative, because he had like a family friend representing the whole thing with us. Completely legit, by the way, so it wasn't sketch or anything.
Yeah.
But so we did, like, it went from 160 to 140 because of no parking, and we were able to offer 6 months in advance.
Offering a larger advance on the contract, it made him feel secure that we can afford the place financially. It's less risk for him because he already has the money. And so he was more inclined to discounting the rent because he believed that we were financially sound tenant, right?
And what's funny is, again, in the US, where we own a property management company, there's background checks, financial checks, credit checks. Here,
there's nothing.
Zero. All they want to know was our names, our kids' names.
Our passports, really.
That's it. So in that case, there was literally, they didn't even want to see proof of funds or anything at all.
No proof of funds, no employee or work verification. There's no type of verification. What we were told from our real estate agent was that if you're a foreigner or if you're from the US, then they just have those requirements, the forex rule, and then that's it. That's all it takes to get in the door. But that's also a lot of risk for the landlord if you think about it, because there's no form of background checks at all to make sure that the tenant can actually afford it. By being able to provide a larger lump sum of money, then we were able to secure leasing this space for 140,000 pesos, which is about 2,400 a month.
In the US, the landlord pays the agent. Normally, at least in Nevada, it's $250 or $300. It could vary a little, maybe $400, maybe, but usually it's between $250 and $300. Here, they actually get paid more than what agents get paid in the US. Here, they get paid 1 month's rent. So our agent came up with $2,400 in one transaction. That's huge because
that's USD too.
So $2,400 for one transaction. So she did great. She deserved it. So we would highly recommend her because she got us this home.
And definitely, I would recommend it because we worked with like 3 or 4 real estate agents. I would recommend working with an agent that's a little bit more assertive. Didn't take 2 weeks to hear back from the owner because our agent that we worked with was very assertive, and she would call and follow up quite often to get an answer.
And the best part is we didn't even tell her we were in real estate because that's our background. She had no idea that's our background. And so seeing another agent work like that, it was very refreshing. So once we got the keys, the real expense actually started tallying up. For example, we had to go to IKEA, Anson is like a Best Buy type, Landers. Those 3 are the main stores that we went to get all of our furniture and appliances.
Okay, so we're gonna go over how much we spent to furnish the 3-bedroom house, everything we spent basically, and some of the costs that unexpected things that we ended up having to pay for. So for IKEA, it's mainly to furnish the entire house. So furniture, bedding,
cabinets,
kitchen supplies. So that came out to $7,531. And then at Anson's, we ended up having to get a washer and dryer because there's no washer and dryer in the unit. And we didn't want to ask the landlord for additional large appliances because we were trying to get the rent at 140,000 pesos. We also purchased our own water heaters for 2 bathrooms. We bought that, and then we bought a TV. So that total came out to $1,373. And then for Landers, we pretty much just bought like small appliances, pots and pans, that sort of thing.
Microwave, utensils, mugs, all that little
Coffee
stuff.
maker. So that came out to $813. So total we spent to furnish the entire house is $9,717. Now, if your unit that you get isn't brand new, then you'll probably already have a washer and dryer in place.
Or even furniture too. Some of the couches that we saw was super grody, so there's no way we were
Even the dining chairs, the beds too. When you do your search, you'll start to see that sometimes the furniture is very worn out. Some of the units do include furniture, and also some of the units that we looked at included water heater.
Yeah.
It's just that this particular unit was recently turned over. It was brand new, and so it didn't have all those things already. Now, one of the hidden costs that a lot of expats don't talk about is the cost of the schools here in BGC.
So if you don't have kids, then fast forward this part of the video.
Being in BGC, there's a large cost associated with getting into BGC. But in addition to that, once you're in, you also have to pay a premium for the schools.
Yeah.
Now we have 2 toddlers. We have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Within a 2-mile radius is the best schools in all of the Philippines.
Yes.
Right. There's a lot of private schools here. One being ISM, that's the International School of Manila. BSM,
Yes.
British
School of Manila.
I don't know.
Well, BSM.
Yeah, it's right across each other, by the way.
They're right across each other. It's walking distance to here. I don't know how
Yeah.
long is that walk, like 15, 20 minutes.
And there's a few other schools like that.
There's a Chinese school there also.
Yeah.
And it's all walking distance. So you're not sitting in traffic for the, the school drop off. You're not sitting in traffic for an hour and a half.
It's
you
here.
can just walk. If you have to take Grab, it's still a short distance because it's here.
That's also why it's so expensive, because the schools are located in one of the
Right.
nicest areas in the Philippines.
It's our second largest expense aside from the rent. So we are paying $900 a month for 2 children. They do go to a Montessori school.
So what's the lesson here? Make sure you are aware of the forex rule, which is again the 2 months of deposit, 2 months advance, and also have some side reserves just in case, because as you know, estimates are typically always off.
And then some negotiating points to consider is, of course, the parking. 5,000 to 6,000 reduction if you don't need the parking spot. In addition to that, you could negotiate for the rice cooker we've seen, microwave.
Certain appliances.
Yeah, certain like small appliances you can negotiate. You can negotiate for a washer and dryer as well, a water heater as well. Now, again, keep in mind that some landlords are just not as flexible with negotiations if you're trying to find a unit that's in a very desirable location. For schools, it definitely has a high price tag here in BGC. So definitely you'll need to plan ahead for that type of expense.
Your toddler tax
Right.
is what's really called living here. So this video is about the cost to get in. In our next video, next week, we're going to actually go through our budget on the cost of our monthly expenses.
With that said, thanks for watching and subscribe to follow our journey.